I woke up that morning to find a bright yellow paper taped to my front door. Bold black letters screaming, "Eviction Notice, HOA Order." For a second, I thought it was some sick joke. After all, how do you get evicted from the house you own? The Florida sun was already heating the air, but a cold dread crawled through my chest. I'd been living here for 4 years, paid every mortgage bill, mowed my lawn on time, never missed a single HOA fee. Yet somehow this paper claimed I was in violation of community policy, unauthorized residence. I remember laughing nervously, but that laugh didn't last long. Because at the bottom of the page, in neat, sharp handwriting, was a signature I'd come to hate even before this moment. Karen W. Morris, HOA President. Karen lived 2 houses down, the kind of woman who turned every neighborhood rule into her personal law. Pink suit every morning, clipboard in hand, fake smile that could cut glass. She'd already fined me once for leaving my garbage can out 2 hours late. But eviction? That was a new level of madness. I tore the notice down and went straight to the HOA office. Karen was there, and of course, her lipstick was too bright for morning, and her smile too calm for someone trying to ruin my life. "Oh, hello, Mr. Adams," she said sweetly. "I assume you've seen the notice." "Yeah, I've seen your little threat," I snapped. "You can't evict me. I own this property." She leaned forward across the desk, voice lowering like she was enjoying every second of my confusion. "Ownership is complicated, Mr. Adams. You see, our records show this property was never properly transferred to your name." For a moment, the world tilted. "What are you talking about? I have every paper from the bank." "Oh, I'm sure you think you do," she said, "but until the HOA verifies that paperwork, you're technically trespassing." I could hear the hum of the old office AC as my pulse hammered. Something was off, way off. Karen wasn't just following rules, she was creating them. That night, I went through every file, every document I had. The deed, the sale agreement, the HOA registration. Everything looked legit. Still, a sinking feeling told me Karen wouldn't stop here. Around 11 p.m., I heard footsteps outside my house. Soft, slow, measured. I peeked through the blinds. A silhouette stood near my fence, a flashlight glinting off something metallic. Clipboard? It was her. Karen. Standing there, like she was inspecting my yard in the middle of the night. I grabbed my phone to record, but by the time I stepped outside, she was gone. Only the faint scent of her perfume lingered in the humid air. The next morning, I found something else. A red notice of fine taped to my mailbox. Violation, unauthorized modification to exterior property. Penalty, $5,000. I hadn't touched anything on my property, not one thing. That's when I realized this wasn't about HOA rules. This was personal. I decided to visit my neighbor, Jim, an older guy, retired cop, who'd lived here since the HOA started. When I showed him the notice, his face went pale. "Son," he said quietly, "Karen's done this before." "What do you mean?" "She forced out the Millers 2 years ago. Claimed their paperwork was fake. They lost everything. Didn't they sue?" "They tried," he said, "but their documents disappeared from the county records right before court." My stomach turned cold. I'd scanned my papers months ago, but the physical copies were in my safe. When I rushed to check, the safe was still locked, but lighter. My property deed was gone. And then my phone buzzed. A new email. No sender name. Just one line. "You should have left when I warned you." When I opened that email, I felt my heart stop. No sender, no trace, just one line. You should have left when I warned you. The words echoed in my mind long after the screen went dark. Whoever sent that knew about the missing deed, and the only person who could have been inside my house was Karen. I barely slept that night. Every creak, every car passing by felt like someone watching. At 3 a.m., I caught myself staring at the safe again. Door still closed, lock unbroken, but my most important paper gone, like a ghost had taken it. By morning, I was angry more than scared. I decided to record everything, every threat, every conversation, every violation notice. If Karen wanted a war, I'd give her one. I started by visiting the county clerk's office. The clerk, a woman named Jenna, pulled up the property records. Her brows furrowed. That's strange. The transfer record for your house was deleted from our system last week. Deleted? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Yeah. Normally, that can only be done by the HOA's legal representative or a court order. A chill crawled down my spine. Can you tell who authorized it? Jenna leaned closer to the monitor. It was signed by Karen W. Morris. That name again. She wasn't just trying to evict me, she was erasing me. When I walked out of that office, I saw a black SUV parked across the street. Tinted windows, engine running. As I turned toward it, the SUV pulled away. No license plate. That night, I sat in my living room, surrounded by paperwork and half-empty coffee cups. I played the footage I'd recorded from my security camera. Nothing unusual. Then I fast-forwarded to 2:43 a.m. There, a shadow moved near my back door. Frame by frame, I zoomed in. It was Karen, her blonde hair glinting under the motion light. She crouched near the door and looked directly into the camera lens. She smiled. I froze. That wasn't just intimidation. It was a message. She knew I'd find it. I called the local police, showed them the footage, the notices, the missing deed. The officer, a young guy, seemed uneasy. Look, sir, Karen Morris is well connected. She's on the town committee. If you accuse her without solid proof, this could turn against you. So I should just let her steal my home, I snapped. I didn't say that, he replied quietly. Just be careful. You're not the first person who's had trouble with her. That phrase stayed with me. Not the first person. I drove around the neighborhood the next day, knocking on doors, talking to old residents. Most refused to speak, but one woman, Mrs. Henderson, late 70s, opened her door just a crack. Are you here about Karen? She whispered. Yes, I said. Did something happen to you too? She glanced over her shoulder before speaking. She made my son lose his house. Said he owed fees that didn't exist. He tried to fight her, but the stress killed him. Heart attack. She doesn't stop until she breaks you. Her voice trembled as she handed me an old folder. Inside were photos. Karen with a man I didn't recognize, standing in front of my house. This was before you moved in, she said. That man was her husband. He owned your property years ago. My breath caught. So you're saying she's not evicting you for rules, dear. She's taking back what she thinks is still hers. That night, I couldn't shake the image of Karen smiling into my camera, the way she looked at my house, like it was hers all along. Then, just past midnight, my phone buzzed again. Another email, this one with an attachment, a photo of me sleeping in bed. The caption read, "You shouldn't have gone digging." I jumped up, heart pounding, scanning the dark corners of my room. Curtains fluttered slightly, window half open. Outside, somewhere in the distance, I heard a faint laugh. High-pitched, familiar, Karen's. You ever get that feeling that your house is watching you? Like the walls are keeping secrets you're not supposed to know? That's how it started for me. After the night I got that photo of myself sleeping, I barely remember how long I sat on the edge of my bed that night. Every sound felt louder, sharper. The hum of the AC, the ticking clock, my own breathing. I knew Karen had been inside my house. Somehow she had gotten in. But how? The next morning, I tore through the place, checking doors, windows, locks. Nothing was broken. No signs of a break-in. Still, I could feel it, like someone had been standing right there, watching me. I went to Home Depot, bought motion sensors, smart locks, even a hidden camera for the living room. If she came again, I'd catch her this time. But as I drilled the sensor into the hallway wall, the drill hit something hollow. Not drywall, not wood, something empty. Curious, I grabbed a small hammer and gently knocked around. Thud, thud, hollow. There was a small section just behind the stairs that didn't sound right. So I cut through the drywall. Behind it was a narrow space, like a hidden crawl cavity between the studs. Inside, a small metal box covered in dust. No label, no lock, just sitting there, waiting. I pulled it out, set it on the table, and opened it. Inside were old photos, letters, and one small cassette tape. In the photos, a younger Karen smiling beside a man, same guy from Mrs. Henderson's folder. The house behind them. My house. The letters were worse, all written by Karen's husband, addressed to her. They started sweet, then darker. One read, "Greater than Karen, you need to let go of the past. The house isn't yours anymore. What happened there was an accident." My hands trembled. Accident. I popped the cassette into an old recorder I had from my dad's stuff. Static filled the room, then a man's voice came through, deep, calm, scared. "If you're hearing this, Karen, it means you found out. The cops know. They're looking in the crawl space under the stairs. I can't keep covering for you anymore." Static, then silence. I just sat there. My house wasn't just her obsession. It was part of a cover-up. I decided to check that crawl space he mentioned. I moved aside the stair paneling, unscrewed a wooden board, and aimed my flashlight inside. Dust, insulation, cobwebs, and then a glint of metal, a wedding ring, and beside it, something else, small bones wrapped in a piece of faded fabric. My stomach twisted. This wasn't just a power game anymore. This was evidence. I called the cops immediately. They sent a unit over, but guess who showed up with them? Karen. Her face was calm, almost smug. "Mr. Adams," she said sweetly, "I heard there was a disturbance." I froze. "You heard? From who?" She smiled. "Oh, I have friends in dispatch." The officers took my statement. But the second they left to check the evidence, Karen leaned close to me and whispered, "You just dug your own grave, sweetheart." Then she walked off, like nothing happened. That night, the cops didn't come back. No updates, no calls. The crawl space, sealed. The evidence, gone. Next morning, a new notice appeared on my door. Final eviction. 24 hours to vacate. Signed by Karen. Stamped by the HOA. "What the hell?" I muttered under my breath. I called the police station. They claimed there was no record of my report. Every file, every call, every email, gone. By noon, a tow truck pulled up in my driveway. 2 HOA security guards followed, holding clipboards and blank expressions. "Sir, we've been instructed to clear the property," one said flatly. "This is my home," I shouted. "You can't do this. "Sir, please step aside," he repeated. That's when Karen showed up, in her pink blazer, sunglasses, sipping coffee like it was a Sunday brunch. She leaned on her car door and smiled. "Greater than, I told you, Mr. Adams. Some houses don't want new owners." Something in me snapped. I ran back inside, locked the door, and grabbed the box. The letters, the tape, everything. If she was erasing evidence, I'd make sure someone outside the HOA saw it. I scanned the letters, uploaded the audio, and sent everything to a friend of mine, Jake, a journalist in Tampa. He texted back, "Greater than, man, this is wild. But there's something you should know. Karen's husband didn't just vanish. He was declared missing in your house." I froze. He sent me a screenshot from an old newspaper article. Headline: "Local HOA President's husband missing. Foul play suspected." And below the article, a photo of my house. The same house I'd been living in for years. The same crawl space I'd just opened. I walked into that meeting knowing it could be my last shot at exposing her. Karen had the whole neighborhood wrapped around her perfectly manicured finger. But tonight, I was ready to pull that mask off. The HOA's monthly meeting was held in the community clubhouse. Beige walls, fake plants, cheap coffee. But when I stepped inside, it felt like a courtroom. Neighbors turned to stare, whispering like I was already guilty of something. And at the front, sitting proud behind a long wooden table, was Karen. Clipboard in one hand, that fake smile plastered on her face. "Mr. Adams," she said, her voice smooth as poison. "Glad you could join us before your final day on the property." I clenched my jaw. "We'll see about that." I hooked my phone to the projector, and a grainy image appeared on the screen. Karen's husband's photo and the cassette recording. "This," I said, "was found inside my walls, along with a wedding ring and—" "Objection," she snapped, standing up like a lawyer. "None of this is verified. This man has been spreading lies about me and our community." The room murmured. Some nodded with her. Others looked confused. I hit play. The voice of her husband filled the hall. "Karen, they're going to find out. I can't hide it anymore." The recording cut off with a sharp static, but that was enough. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to her. Her face changed, just slightly, a crack in her perfect control. She laughed nervously. "Really, Mr. Adams? You expect anyone to believe you dug up a decades-old tape by accident?" "Yeah," I said, stepping closer, "and I found your signature deleting my deed from the county system. You didn't just want me out. You wanted to bury what you did here." That's when something in her snapped. Her voice went cold, sharp as glass. "You think you can come into my neighborhood," she hissed, "live in my house, and expose me?" "Your house?" I shot back. "You lost that right the day your husband disappeared." Her hands slammed the table. "He didn't disappear." The room went dead quiet. Her eyes flicked toward the projector, then to the screen behind me. That's when it happened. The screen glitched, the image flickered, and for a split second, another face appeared. Karen's husband, pale, bruised, sitting somewhere dark. And then, black screen. The crowd gasped. Someone whispered, "Is that live?" Karen's expression drained of color. She looked terrified, genuinely terrified. I turned toward her. "What was that?" But she didn't answer. She grabbed her purse, bolted for the door, heels clicking across the floor. "Karen!" I shouted, chasing after her, but she was already gone. Outside, rain had started to fall. Her car wasn't in the lot. Only a single piece of paper lay on the ground near the clubhouse door, the same yellow paper she'd taped to my house weeks ago, except this one had handwriting scrawled across the bottom, in red ink. He's still here. I looked back at the clubhouse windows, the neighbors staring out, faces pale with fear. For the first time, I wasn't sure if Karen was the only monster in this neighborhood. I thought I was fighting Karen, but that night, I realized the real enemy had been inside this house long before either of us moved in. After the HOA meeting, I couldn't shake that image. Karen's husband, pale and bruised, flashing on the screen like a ghost trying to speak. The police brushed it off as a glitch, but I knew better. That look on Karen's face, that was fear. By midnight, thunder rolled over the neighborhood. I sat in the dark, watching rain pound against the windows. The yellow notice she'd dropped still lay on the table. He's still here. Those words looped in my head. At 1:07 a.m., the lights flickered. Then my front door creaked open. Even though I'd locked it, I grabbed my flashlight and whispered, "Karen?" No answer, just the sound of slow, dragging footsteps across the hardwood. I followed the noise to the hallway near the crawl space, the one where I'd found the bones. The panel was wide open now. A cold gust hit my face, and my flashlight started flickering like something didn't want me there. "Karen!" I shouted again. Then I heard her voice, faint, trembling, from inside the crawl space. Greater than, He's not gone." I knelt down and shone the light inside. She was there, crouched in the shadows, hair soaked, eyes wide with terror. "Karen, what the hell are you doing?" She looked up at me, lips shaking. "I didn't kill him, I swear. I sealed him in." He wouldn't stop. "Stop what?" I asked. Her eyes darted behind me. "He's angry, Adams." He never left. Before I could respond, the air turned heavy, like the house itself took a breath. The lights went out completely. Then, from deep inside the crawl space, came a noise that didn't belong to the living. A low, broken groan. Karen screamed. Something yanked her backward into the darkness. I grabbed her hand, but she slipped, her nails scraping across the floor before she vanished inside the void. Then the panel slammed shut. Silence, only the rain and my heartbeat. When the cops came the next morning, the crawl space was empty again. No Karen, no bones, just a single thing lying on the floor, her pink blazer soaked and torn. The county later ruled her missing under unknown circumstances. The HOA board quietly dissolved. The neighborhood stopped talking to me after that. Weeks passed. I sold the house, packed everything, tried to move on. But the night before leaving, I walked through one last time, just to say goodbye to the nightmare. And as I passed the stairs, I heard it, faint, muffled, almost like a whisper, coming from inside the walls. "Greater than welcome home, Karen." The light flickered. The crawl space door creaked open again, by itself. That's when I finally understood. Karen wasn't haunting this house. The house was haunting her. And now, it remembered me too. They say every home has history, but some homes don't let history go.
All right, folks. If you made it this far, you're officially part of the story gang. If you dug this HOA drama and want to see more wild neighborhood stories like this one, go ahead and smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that little bell so you don't miss the next drop. And, hey, tell me down in the comments, what kind of story do you want to see next? Another HOA meltdown? A crazy neighbor revenge? Or something totally unexpected? Drop your ideas. I read every single one. Catch you in the next one. And remember, in the suburbs, nothing stays secret for long. Home fire.